Right, back for the third part of this epic saga. This is the whole nitrogen cycle then. So the stages, let's go through them again. Atmospheric nitrogen, which is inert, is converted into ammonium ions by nitrogen fixation by the nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Ammonium ions are then oxidised into nitrates, but in two stages. So the nitrifying bacteria, first one, Nitrosomonas, oxidises ammonium ions into nitrites, and then Nitrobacter oxidises nitrites into nitrates. Those nitrates are available to plants. Plants actively transport, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier on actually, let's put that in here. So they actively transport the nitrates from the soil into the roots, and then through this process of assimilation, the nitrates are converted into or form part of the nitrogen-containing molecules in plants. Then there is this feeding process. So feeding of plants by animals. So the plants are the plants provide the nitrogen-containing molecules to those animals. A couple of stages, obviously need to go through digestion, absorption, and then once they've been absorbed, the animals can produce the nitrogen-containing molecules. Waste products from animals, such as urine or feces, and the dead and decaying plants and animals, become available to saprobiotic organisms, which include fungi and bacteria, and they do a process of ammonification. Okay, so saprobiotic organisms or saprobionts do this process of ammonification, where they take the decaying organic matter and convert it back into back into ammonium ions. Those ammonium ions are then obviously available to the nitrifying bacteria for that process to repeat. We mentioned earlier on the worst enemy of a farmer would be these denitrifying bacteria, such as Pseudomonas, because this denitrification process converts those really useful nitrates into inert, unavailable atmospheric nitrogen. So, like I said, let's put yourselves in the boots of a farmer. To increase the yield of a crop, some of these bacteria need to be encouraged. Okay, so we need to know how to do that, and obviously some of the other bacteria, those denitrifying ones, need to be inhibited. So, what do we know about these bacteria? Nitrogen-fixing bacteria use an enzyme and lots of ATP to fix atmospheric nitrogen into ammonium ions. This requires oxygen. They are aerobic. Okay, so nitrogen fixation and those nitrogen fixing bacteria respire aerobically, because that's the only way that they can produce enough ATP to break those triple bonds in nitrogen. It also requires an enzyme. You don't need to know the name of this enzyme, you may see it referred to, which is nitrogenase. Okay, I'll just put that in brackets, don't need to know the name of that. Most important thing here, they are aerobic. So a farmer wants to provide nice aerobic soils for the nitrogen fixing bacteria to promote their growth. Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter, the nitrifying bacteria, well, they are oxidising ammonium ions into nitrites and then nitrates. Again, these are aerobic. Really important. A farmer wants to promote those bacteria, and to do that, they use they do aerobic respiration to do that. I've been joined by a drone. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong here. Maybe they just want a biology lesson as well. Right. Okay. So, how do farmers create those aerobic conditions in their soil? The first thing that they do is ploughing. Okay, so ploughing involves turning the soil over. Okay, so at the beginning of each growing season, farmers go out into their fields, they use their plough, turn the soil over, and that provides oxygen to the soil, which stimulates the growth of and provides the right conditions for these nitrogen-fixing bacteria and nitrifying bacteria. Denitrification by denitrifying bacteria only takes place in anaerobic conditions. So again, by reducing those anaerobic conditions by ploughing, or, I didn't mention this before, by preventing waterlogged fields, or draining waterlogged fields, you can prevent these denitrifying bacteria from growing. And that would stop the nitrates from being returned to the atmosphere as nitrogen gas. So then, farmers do a few things. They drain waterlogged fields. They plough, which turns the soil over. Both of those things create aerobic conditions for the nitrogen-fixing bacteria and the nitrifying bacteria. Finally, the other things that the farmers may do is provide manure to the fields, or fertiliser. So there are two types of fertiliser. There's synthetic fertiliser, which is produced by the harbour process, which introduces ammonia to the soil, or using organic fertiliser, which are the waste products of animals. It tends to be manure, perhaps bone meal, that kind of thing. It can be spread on the field, which provides that organic matter for the saprobiotic organisms. Saprobiotic organisms convert the urine and the feces, for example, into ammonium ions, which become available to the nitrifying bacteria. Okay, so just in summary, what does a farmer do? Well, they plough their fields. I should write this down, shouldn't I? I'm running out of space here. So ploughing, what else do they do? Reduce waterlogging, and they add fertilisers. Okay, fertilisers could be ammonium ions produced, or ammonia produced from the harbour process, or organic fertilisers from the waste products of plants and animals. Right, I might do another video on that in a second, but I hope that helped. Sorry for the distraction by the by the drone and by my dog. I'll be back.